Joining me now is Gatestone Institute Senior Fellow Gordon Chang. Gordon, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. So I've got the letter in front of me. Tom Cotton sent this letter to the chairman of the board on August 5th. And he says, I write to express concern about the security and integrity of Intel's operations and its potential impact on U.S. national security after Intel appointed this new CEO back in March of 2025. Your reaction?
I don't think that Tan should be the CEO of Intel, and the U.S. should use all of its power to force Intel to get him out of that company. What Cadence Design did, Tan was the head of Cadence Design when it recklessly disregarded, and that's the best that can be said, about its transfer of software and hardware to essentially the Chinese military. Cadence has actually admitted to a crime. It's going to pay a $140 million fine, so obviously it did something wrong. This is extremely serious, and there has to be accountability for it. We have too many CEOs who engage in this type of activity and gotten away with it. There has to be a cost, and I think we start with Bhutan.
Yeah, I mean, this has to, be a warning shot across corporate America. Corporate America wants to sell their products to communist China, to 1.4 billion people, but the CCP demands stuff from those companies. So Tom Cotton writes this: we respectfully request a response to the following questions by August 15th. Was the board aware of Cadence subpoenas before hiring Mr. Tan as CEO? If so, what measures were taken to address concerns about Cadence's activities under Mr. Tan? Did the board require Mr. Tan to divest from his position in semiconductor firms linked to Chinese Communist Party or the People's Liberation Army and other concerning entities in China that could pose a conflict of interest for Intel's CEO? And given Intel's contract under the Secure Enclave program, has Mr. Tan disclosed any remaining investments, professional roles, or other ties to the Chinese companies, ties to Chinese companies to the U.S. government? This is very much in step with how the CCP operates, isn't it?
Yes, and although Tan said that he is divested from those Chinese companies, those companies still list his investments as active. I believe that the FBI needs to open an investigation into Tan himself for crimes against the United States. And in any event, he should be nowhere near a U.S. defense contractor. So I do hope that Senator Cotton presses this and that the United States forces Tan out of Intel.
Yeah, it's an interesting development here. And, Intel has really fallen. It has fallen hard. Intel used to be the #1 chip company, and it has fallen in terms of profitability, in terms of the stock price. So I'm wondering if this is one of those, rob, replicate, replace situations that John Ratcliffe years ago told me is the MO of China, right? Rob, replicate, replace. Here we go again.
Yeah, and I'll say Tan's a very capable executive, and he's actually able to rescue Intel. But that's not the issue here. It's not an issue of capability.
Yeah.
It's an issue of loyalty to the United States. And there are so many indications that he is not loyal to our country.
Yeah. And by the way, there's also an embedded loyalty to communist China. If, in fact, you are a citizen there or have family there, you have to do what the CCP tells you. Meanwhile, China says its July exports were up 7.2% from a year earlier. Imports up 4.1% in that same time frame. But direct exports to the United States were down more than 0.5%. President Trump says he will meet with Xi Jinping before the end of the year if trade agreements do not move forward. Investors expecting an extension on the August 12th deadline for Beijing, though it's not a done deal. The president is also looking to increase the 25% tariff on India's exports to 50%, he announced yesterday, because of India's consistent buying of Russian oil. That's a warning to China that it could face sanctions too, right? I mean, Bloomberg discusses how this rift with India could open the door for China to partner with New Delhi, Gordon. What is your reaction to what the president is doing with regard to India and its buying of Russian oil and what that says to China?
I think it was very important for President Trump to impose that additional 25% tariff. Yeah. That's a good move. And we're not going to drive India into China's hands because China is trying to break apart India and it made it very clear that it is India's enemy and that we do actually help India defend itself. But nonetheless, China is a bigger buyer of Russian-sanctioned energy, especially oil. And right now, I think that the president has to impose an additional 25% tariff on China for purchasing sanctioned oil, because this is just unfair. We need to go across the board. This is really important, Maria, that we starve Russia of money for the war, and we have to go after China as well as India.